Hey guys, Colton's hacking on Sonic Boom Fan 101 here.
And today's gonna be Ben, iPad, and Kindle Scribe.
In front of us today, we have a brand new 2022 iPad in pink. This is not to be confused, of course, with the iPad Pro, iPad Mini, iPad Air, or 9th generation iPad, all of which are still for sale on Apple's website. These new iPads are the most colorful, though. Today we're going to find out how durable this new iPad is. Speaking of colorful and durable, I have a jerry-rig knife sale going on that I'm probably going to regret later for just $9.99. USPS says the last day to order something and have it still arrive by Christmas is December 17th. So the clock is ticking. I think the first colors we're going to run out of are the metal and clear, so if you've been eyeing those, now is the time. And of course, I will do my absolute best to get them to you by the holidays. If you do a lot of shipping, like me, and if you hate leaving your house, like me, you're gonna love today's sponsor, Stamps.com. For more than 20 years, Stamps.com has been giving over 1 million businesses complete access to USPS and UPS straight from our computer. With massive discounts up to 86% off, it's a stress-free solution. All you need is a computer and a printer. And with Stamps.com's Switch and Save feature, you can compare rates and carriers, making sure you get the best deal every time and can even schedule pickups. Stamps.com also integrates with online stores like Shopify, Etsy, eBay, and other online shopping carts. This holiday season, you can trade late nights for silent nights. To get your 4-week trial, go to Stamps.com/jerryrig. You can get free postage, a free digital scale, and no long-term commitments or contracts. Just how we like it. No lines, no traffic, no hassle. Huge thanks to Stamps.com for sponsoring this video. Now I think it's time we get extremely up close and personal with Apple's new iPad. Let's get started. Your first question today is probably, hey Jerry, what makes this iPad different from the other 4 iPads for sale on Apple's website? And I'm going to be honest, they all kind of seem the same to me. But this one is pink and costs about $450, which doesn't seem all that bad. The pink is kind of a softer, peachy pink, in my opinion. Inside the box, we have a pretty high-quality charging cable, a charging brick, and if we look close, we can check the wattage. If we look close, we can check the wattage. It looks like 20 watts, and holy cannoli, both ends of this cable are USB-C. The new iPad 10th generation has officially caught up with the rest of the world and is using USB-C. Nice work, Apple. Hopefully that means the iPhones are next to transition, which I'm betting they'll have to comply with the new upcoming EU regulations. Will be the accessories we lose along the way. For example, this 10th generation iPad is compatible with the 1st generation Apple Pencil, but not the wirelessly charging 2nd generation Pencil. Which means if you do get the 1st gen Pencil with its Lightning port eraser, you'll have to buy the $9 Apple Pencil adapter, which then plugs into a USB-C cable, which then plugs into the iPad to both pair and charge the Apple Pencil. Lose any one of these 3 tiny components and your pencil will no longer function. Apple's loving it though. I hear they're even changing the catchphrase from think different to think dongle. We'll get this little menage a trois out of the way and get down to real business of analyzing the color a little more thoroughly. I mean, it's not a bad pink, a little less vibrant than my knife, but also not quite as bubblegum as the lighter, but still loud enough to be noticed for sure. I don't hate it. Getting ready for the front screen scratch test, I noticed something interesting. We always set up for our Mohs scale of hardness, but this time around I can tell there is an air gap between the front glass and the display underneath. Not something we normally find. We can see the glass on top move independently from the pixels. We'll have to confirm this during the teardown, or, later on in this video if it does snap in half. All in good time, of course. Plastic would scratch at a level 2 or 3, glass scratches at a 5 or 6, and sapphire would scratch at a level 8 or 9. The free-floating pane of glass, however, starts scratching at level 6, with deeper grooves at a level 7. Pretty standard. No complaints so far. Making our way up to the top front-facing camera, which is no longer at the top. It's now tucked into the side bezel and protected by glass. It is a 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera. I am a fan of this placement, although I really don't have strong feelings one way or the other. The sides are made from anodized aluminum, 100% recycled aluminum to be exact. This iPad was maybe a Mountain Dew can in a previous life, and maybe it'll be a Mountain Dew can again in the next life, which might be coming pretty soon. The buttons are metal, except for the top power button, which doubles as a fingerprint scanner. It does not scratch. Thumbs up for that. On the opposite side of the camera, we have more metal, and 3 golden circles near the magnetical attachment point for the keyboard thing. At the bottom, we have more speaker grills, and our good buddy, the USB-C port. Making our way to the back panel, we have our 12 megapixel wide-angle camera back here, along with a directional mic, and of course the super shiny Apple logo, which does scratch. Now, we know Apple has 5 iPads for sale right now, and like paying extra for the keyboard. The iPad Air is for people who like the regular iPad, but don't like going 2 dongles deep to get the Apple Pencil working. Then of course, this is the regular iPad. We also have last year's iPad 9th Gen, which doesn't change all that much, and the iPad Mini, which is the small one. I hope that cleared up any confusion, and even though my drawing is complete, I'm highly doubtful anyone can tell what it is. I'll be the first one to admit it's not my best work. I tried going for a cute little pink Kirby, but this one looks like he got TKO'd on a 1v1 versus M2K. Maybe we should just keep going with the durability test and put Nightmare Kirby behind us. Apple's calling the 10.9-inch screen a liquid retina display, and after about 15 seconds from my lighter, we can see that the heat passing through the glass and air gap causes the LCD to go black, but after some time does recover. At this point we would usually test the fingerprint scanner, but since it's unscratchable up here, there's no need. We can go straight to the bin test. You might be thinking that iPads are weak and of course they'll break, but in fact the most recent iPad Pro survived, along with the older iPad Mini. It too survived the bin test. This iPad 10th generation, however, should not be put in a back pocket. The Achilles heel of this tablet seems to be the 3 gold pads running along the side. Less material and less structure led to a catastrophic weak point and subsequent shattering. The other side of the tablet without the dots does not crack, even after it's been structurally compromised. So if the dots could be moved on the next iteration, it would indeed become a stronger tablet. Kirby's still back here being absolutely terrifying. I think that since we have nothing left to lose, it's time for a teardown. A little bit of heat can help soften the adhesive around the edges. And it looks like the top layer of laminated glass is indeed completely separate from the display underneath. The digitizer is not glued to the pixels. Speaking of pixels, the Liquid Retina, or LCD, makes some pretty cool designs as I peel it away from the tablet. Bright flashes of light and color. It's gleaming its last gleam. To be fair though, this iPad does look pretty repairable. And from the inside, this iPad 10th Gen looks a whole lot emptier than I was expecting. The motherboard is over here on the right side, with some stylish aesthetic black lettering on the 28.9 watt-hour battery. The biggest surprise though is that there are only 2 little tiny speakers in here. The iPad Pro has 4 speakers inside, positioned close to their corresponding grill holes. But this particular speaker here at the bottom isn't even close to the opening. It's still stereo, of course, but there's a whole lot of empty space inside of this thing. The metal squares you're seeing are magnets, probably to help keep the folio cover closed. Cool to see the magnets on the side, labeled with their pole orientation, to help keep the keyboard locked into place. Apple is using 100% recycled magnets for this, along with recycled tin, gold, and copper on the motherboard. I'm a fan of that. I'm not, however, a fan of Nightmare Kirby back here. Luckily, he can be gone forever with one of my teardown skins. which lets you see the exact layout of all the internal components without ever needing to snap your tablet in half, which is probably preferable to most parents out there. Let's just all agree to never talk about Kirby again. Grab your discounted jerry-rig knife with the link in the description. They make excellent stocking stuffers. Just make sure to keep track of those fingers. Santa can't replace digits. Come hang out with me on Instagram. Thanks a ton for watching, and I'll see you around. Don't mind me today, I'm just getting a little snack before we commence the durability test. Today we're going to be checking out our very first e-ink tablet called the Kindle Scribe. It's the very first e-ink tablet for both reading and writing. And I did buy 2 of them, you know what that means. I think it even has a stylus inside, which should be pretty interesting to see how that works. This video is not sponsored by Amazon, even though Kindle is owned by Amazon. This video is sponsored by Huel. But don't worry, it takes less than 60 seconds to make a nutritionally complete, affordable vanilla shake with 40 grams of plant-based protein. It's not just protein either. This shake has 27 vitamins and minerals. I mean, just look at the list of all these nutrients on the back. Plus, no artificial sweeteners. Huel Black is an easy way to maintain and keep track of your nutritional goals. I've lost 15 pounds since last June, thanks for noticing. All thanks to keeping track of my calories and of course my daily workout of snapping phones in half. New year, new me, you know how it goes, and Huel Black has a 12-month shelf life. Personally, I like the vanilla flavor, but I have not yet tried the cookies and cream or strawberry shortcake yet. I'll be getting those next to spice things up. I like it because it's not super sweet like you might see with some other protein powders. If you want your own plant-based, affordable, nutritionally complete food, I'll leave a link down in the description, but you don't have to take my word for it. Over 270 million meals have been sold in over 100 countries. You'll even get a free t-shirt with your order, and huge thanks to Huel for sponsoring this video. Now that I've refueled with my healthy vanilla shake from Huel, it's time to see if an e-ink tablet can survive a durability test. Should be interesting. Let's get started. Now, tablets with e-ink displays have been around for a really long time, and are actually pretty fairly priced. It's easy to find them for less than $100. This guy, however, the Kindle Scribe with the stylus, costs quite a bit more, sitting right around $370. The stylus and power cable are joined together, but at that price point, we are up in the iPad territory, so let's see if the cost is worth it. This is my first experience with an e-ink display this large, and I guess the main difference between electronic ink and regular IPS or OLED is that e-ink is grayscale and has basically no refresh rate, ever, unless it's time to turn the page. The unrefreshing screen is what gives us a battery life that's calculated in weeks instead of days. It comes with 16 shades of gray, I guess 50 shades costs extra, and it actually does a pretty good job of displaying images, in black and white of course. The 10.2-inch screen has a density of 300 pixels per inch, which is about the same as what we saw on the iPhone 11, so there's pretty solid clarity. Plus, going into dark mode inverts the colors, not only for easy night reading, but also some vision impairments can see white text on black pages better. So I can see this feature being very useful, since most regular books are printed black on white. The matte screen also reduces glare. It does feel like glass, but we'll have to find out for sure here in a second. If I rotate the tablet top to bottom, the screen does refresh itself by not only inverting the page, but also inverting the coloring of each pixel quickly before returning back to normal again, like a really expensive Etch-a-Sketch. It happens both while reading a book or if you're scrolling through the ebook library. Not a bad little unit. I can see it being extremely useful for the type of person who wants to carry thousands of books around. I was surprised to learn, however, that even though you might purchase a book from Amazon, you don't actually own it. You're only buying permission to read the title. The title's not actually yours. So there is some merit to just getting a physical copy, but then again, it all just goes back to how many books you want to fit in your pants. Everyone's different. It's also surprising to see that the matte screen is also made from plastic, with scratches appearing at a level 3 and deeper grooves at a level 4. It's definitely not glass. There is no camera on this unit, which is nice.
The real differentiator from this e-ink e-reader from others is the stylus. It's got a removable tip and the ability to take notes. Not directly on the page itself, however, but as a small post-it note type thing that's saved as an icon wherever you're inserting the note. Pressing the button on the sides allows me to highlight instead of write. This would definitely be more useful on PDFs or forms, which the Scribe can also do. While taking notes, however, fingers cannot do any of the drawings, and I think we should find out why. Especially since this stylus supposedly never needs to be charged and has no internal batteries of its own. How does the screen know where the stylus is at? It's all done with very similar technology to what we find in Samsung's S Pen stylus, a coil of copper wires around the tip that can accurately be detected by a wire mesh behind the pixels. In the far end of the stylus, near the digital eraser, we find some magnets, whose only job is to hold the pen to the edge of the tablet. Kinda forgot to show this beforehand, so just use your imagination to see the rest of the pen still attached. The body of the e-ink e-reader is pretty simple. Bare metal on the right side, and bare metal on the top side. I guarantee there's a grandma who's watching right now for the first time and is very confused. On the left side we have the USB-C port, which you won't be using much, since a single charge can last up to 3 months. We also have a metal power button, all made with 100% recycled aluminum. Little rubber foot pads at each corner, which are actually quite nice, very securely attached to the panel, and they do a very good job of elevating the reader when it's set down. A slightly more quality experience than just having the bare metal rest on a table or desk, kinda like built-in coasters. It's pretty impressive that in a span of about 600 years, we went from Gutenberg's printing press, making books one hand-set letter at a time, to a lightweight internet-connected e-ink e-reader that can instantly pick from 13 million different titles. Technology changes pretty fast. The Scribe is pretty cool and definitely has its place. But I don't think that physical books are going anywhere anytime soon. I know the biggest question on your mind when clicking on this video is what happens to an electronic ink display during the bin test? And let's find out. We know that LCDs go black and usually recover, OLEDs go white and usually don't recover, and e-ink, well, it looks like this e-ink display does nothing under the heat from my lighter. There is a slight ripple of melted plastic on the top, but the screen itself is unfazed and undamaged. I'm impressed. The picture you keep seeing, by the way, is a sculpture on a hilltop in Ohio that the author thinks was made by a very advanced civilization on Earth about 10,000 years ago, which got wiped out at the end of the last ice age. I'm not normally a conspiracy theorist, but this one's actually pretty interesting. And with a tablet this thin, the bin test should also be interesting. With the price of an iPad, let's hope this Kindle Scribe is durable. And you gotta admit, that was some pretty hefty flex, with some serpent-like curvature, yet the e-ink display is still totally functional. The frame is a bit crinkly now, but no catastrophic damage has occurred so far. Super impressive. Bending from the front, however, yields different results. While no physical cracks have appeared, it does look like half of the display is now unresponsive. Black and white streaks running down from the right side corners, but the left half of the tablet is still displaying text, although unresponsive. Let's find out why. Taking off the back cover is easy enough. No screws or glue to worry about. The dual cell battery takes up most of the real estate inside of this thing, all 3,000 milliamp hours of it. The rest of the guts include the motherboard and a rather thick display. Apparently this thing is backlit with 35 LEDs that shine through the e-ink to illuminate the pixels at night. Very similar to the QLED technology we see on Samsung TVs, but illuminating grayscale instead of colors. There is one additional layer between us and the pixels, which are still amazingly turned on. These 16 shades of gray don't mess around. Apparently, when the pixels are flipped to black or white, they stay in that orientation forever. Even in death, this e-ink display is taking its job seriously. The words and letters are permanently etched onto the tablet's surface. Scratching past the layers of pixels, we can see a copper mesh that's used to find the stylus. Regular Kindles that don't have a stylus would also not have this mesh. It's very, very interesting. I hope any grandmas passing by haven't entirely lost their faith in this new generation. We do the durability test for science, of course, and the joy of learning new things. And Grandma, if you're looking for a much happier, non-destructive video, I'll link our off-road wheelchair project for kids that we just released last week. Definitely one of my favorite videos. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I do have an extra Kindle Scribe to give away. Just be subscribed and leave any comment down below. Any comment at all. I'm curious though, when was the last time you sat down and read a book? Let me know. And like always, thanks a ton for watching. I'll see you around.
Rosemary theme. Thanks for watching for part 7 for Windows 7.
Stay tuned next time for part 22. And we're not gonna have any CD-ROMs in here. Like, we're gonna try doing it without the CD-ROMs, because if I end up putting in like a CD-ROM in this again, the computer is gonna crash. Like after an amount of time, like after a matter of time. So anyway, that will be it. Stay tuned next time for part 22, which in case we will not do any more CD-ROM stuff for the rest of the walkthrough. So yeah. And we will shorten the amount of parts for this walkthrough to 25. Just like what we did with, it's gonna be like, it's the same amount of parts for, the 2019 edition of the Dell Dimension 4600 walkthrough. So yeah. Thank you viewers for watching. This is Colton Tackett on Sonic Boom Fan 101 signing off. Excuse me viewers. As I was saying, this is Colton Tackett on Sonic Boom Fan 101 signing off. And this computer better not crash again. See you guys next time. Peace out.